expand upon. For instance, perhaps you spent less than 30 seconds talking about your favorite sport. And this is a sport that is, nationally loved by all Canadians. So it's something that they'll be able to relate to as well. There's so much more you can say about this sport that we all hail as a national sport. Rivals hockey, I'm sure you're familiar with it as I am, and it's the sport of ski-oring. So why not develop a speech based on your own experiences with ski-oring? You probably have strong opinions. In fact, I'm sure every one of you has a strong opinion about the managerial practices of ski-oring. And you can expand on these opinions in your speech, and everyone will be able to relate to it. Now, what if your experience with ski-oring is limited only to second-hand knowledge? Think back into your past and think of when you were personally involved. Perhaps as a child, you witnessed your grandmother lose her dentures while she was ski-oring. Or perhaps your very first job was giving enemas to the horses that are used in the sport of ski-oring. Or you may want to talk about why you really don't want to be involved in ski-oring at all. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to have skis put on their feet and be attached by a line to a racehorse as it gallops madly across the ice and snow, but who knows, maybe that just isn't your cup of tea. Now, if you're still drawing a blank, you'll discover a lot of inspiration in reference materials, and this is the second source. So reference materials are right at your fingertips. They're at your local library, they're on your bookshelves. Wonderful literature will provide you with much inspiration for a speech. And if you find that you're still at a loss, another great resource is right on your doorstep. It's the local newspaper. And here you'll find articles about sports, you'll find entertainment, commentaries, discussions on business, economic trends, discoveries in science, discoveries in medicine. They carry human interest stories. And don't forget to peruse the letters, because you'll often be inspired by someone's personal opinion about a daily general interest story that we can all relate to. And lastly, the internet. Now the internet has many great articles. Here is the TSN-E article on ski-oring. And of course, images and literature on the internet will be very inspiring to you as well. So to recap, you can draw from personal experiences, or you can draw from actual reference materials when you are selecting a topic for your next speech. Now, you may have already experienced that inspiration can be absolutely sudden and as elusive as quicksilver. You may have an idea pop into your head and then it's gone again. Or you may just be struggling to come up with an idea at all. But if you've ever observed that during something mundane, such as walking in the woods or maybe going on a treadmill, you've suddenly come up with an inspiration, then put yourself into that environment, and that will generate your thought stream, and you'll come up with something new for a speech. Agatha Christie, the great mystery writer, admitted that she came up with her mystery concepts while she was doing the dishes. If in fact it's a domestic task like that you enjoy, your family and your husband, your wives will probably appreciate that too. But once you have the concept, make sure it's not lost, because sometimes it'll pop into your mind and then pop out again. So always keep a pad of paper and a pen close at hand so you can jot the notes down. And then don't discard these notes. Put them all into a file, so in the future, if you're looking for a topic to speak about, you can go through that file and you'll find all sorts of ideas that you have come up with previously. As author John Steinbeck once said, ideas are like rabbits. You get a couple, you learn how to handle them, and pretty soon you'll have dozens. So now that your brain is fermenting with all sorts of speech topics, your main challenge is to narrow your selection down. And this is done with the following 3 points of criteria. First of all, your audience. What is it that they want to hear? You need to think about how many people are attending your speech. You need to consider their background, their age range, what their interests are. Do they have common lifestyles? Are you going to have to explain to them some very basic concepts of your speech? Or do they have the same interests as you do? Next, consider the occasion itself. Are you expected to give a speech of a specific purpose? When are you scheduled to speak during the program? What will be happening after you? Will there be other speakers? What will the environment be like? Will you be on a raised stage? Will you have a podium or a lectern? Will you have a microphone, or do you need to project your voice to everyone, unaided? And then lastly, you will want to consider your talent and your abilities. So now that your decision is getting close to being finalized, there's one more thing you need to consider, is do you have enough enthusiasm and interest in your topic to capture the audience's attention, or will you need to rely upon cheap props? Will they respect you as an authority? Seriously, you need to consider this. And consider whether or not you have enough presentation time if your speech is going to clock in well over the time limit. Just continuing adding minutes to those times in the agenda until you can make sure that you've managed to keep your speech under the selected time limit. So there's no need to feel overwhelmed when you are selecting a topic. You simply need to remember to look to the resources that you have at hand, your personal resources or your reference materials. You need to consider your audience, you need to consider the occasion, and you need to consider your own talents and abilities. And once you've done all of those, your topic and your subject will come together and provide you with the ultimate goal of Toastmasters, which is the well-defined and presented speech. Madam Toastmaster.